Hello everyone. Today we're going to try out these dry aging bags from dryagingbags.com. Here we have a 100% grass-fed New York strip loin from D'Artagnan. Now, these bags are fairly large. I don't know if it would have fit the whole strip loin, but you can see here that it was pretty close. Was actually planning on cutting it in half anyway, so I can test different aging times. One half I'm going to do 30 days, the other half I'm going to take it all the way up to 45 and then compare the results. These bags ship from Lithuania, and they take a little bit of time to get to New York. It's about 3 to 4 weeks. The bags come with these little yellow strips, and the purpose of the strips is to allow you to use these bags in any old vacuum sealer. Now I'm going to fold the edges of the bag down to keep the sealing area clean. I'm also going to transfer the meat directly into the dry aging bag from the original packaging to reduce any risk of contamination. You also want to make sure all the juices and the plasma that's on the surface of the meat makes it into the bag. So you do not want to pat the meat dry before putting it in the dry aged bag. It's this plasma and the proteins on it that help bond the meat to the actual bag. I'm going to trim the bag a little bit so it's a closer fit. You take one of these yellow strips and you line it up with the sealing element. A lot of reviews of people saying that they had a hard time using the automatic modes on the vacuum sealers, where it would just keep vacuuming but never start sealing. Luckily for me, with my food saver, the automatic mode worked perfectly. While it's vacuuming, you just want to massage the surface a little bit, make sure you have good surface contact. Instructions say it doesn't need to be 100% air-free, just about 80%, or rather you want 80% of the surface of the meat to be in contact with the bag. So you can see here that it actually came out pretty well. It's probably pretty close to 100% surface contact. I'm just going to let both of them sit for a little bit, make sure the seals are holding, we don't have any loss of vacuum. after 5 minutes, you can see that this one is still perfectly sealed, great surface contact. However, this other one lost its seal. In retrospect, I probably could have trimmed the bag a little less, so we would have had room to just cut the top off and reseal it. Then again, it only came with 12 of these strips, and I don't know if they're available for purchase separately, so I would have had an extra bag that I wouldn't be able to use anyway. So I'm just gonna redo it with a new bag and a new strip. This time around, the seal stuck perfectly with great surface contact. I'm going to go ahead and put both of these in my refrigerator on top of a cooling rack. Now it's important to keep it on a cooling rack so that air can circulate around the whole piece of meat.
All right, here we are 30 days later, and say both pieces are looking very good. No signs of mold anywhere, as you can see. So this one I'm gonna open up, portion, and trim. This one's going back in the fridge for another 15 days. So I'm gonna test out one of these pieces for dinner tonight, and then when this one's ready, I'm gonna do both and have a little side-by-side comparison. All right, let's get this one opened up and see what it smells like. See, so the plastic definitely got a little more brittle, and it's almost like adhered to the surface of the meat, which is what it was supposed to do, so that's a good sign. No off smells. Taking a closer look here. Yeah, doesn't look like there's any mold. Surface is quite hard. Definitely lost quite a bit of mass there. So let's cut it open and see what it looks like. Just gonna trim the end piece here. Try to trim it as little as possible. Oh wow, that is hard. Wow, look how dark that looks on the inside too. It smells very beefy, but definitely no off smells. Nothing smells rotten or anything like that. So let's get these portioned out into steaks, and then I'll trim the kind of exterior, the hardened exterior off of them. Look at that. I mean, these steaks are definitely going to be a little narrower than I've been hoping for. It's going to be it's thick. I'm cutting them pretty thick, but it's going to be a pretty slim steak there. I'll trim some of this hardened exterior off of it. Probably could have done a little less over there. Oh, like first I'm kind of feeling the middle here, super tender. Definitely a completely different texture than a fresh steak. You can see it kind of like pits and stays that way. Completely different texture. So as I mentioned, I'm gonna eat this guy for dinner today, and then after another 15 days, I'll cook up one of these that were aged for 30 days, as well as one that was aged for 45. And I also have some strip loin, not from the same strip, but from the same purveyor. I got these all from D'Artagnan. That is fresh, unaged, and then I'll cook up all three and see how they compare. All right, that looks pretty good. So I'm gonna go ahead and trim up the rest. I'm gonna vacuum seal them, and this one's gonna go in the sous vide for about 90 minutes at 129 degrees. I'm gonna sear it off on a skillet. And so I'll be back. All right, here they are, all trimmed. As you can see, the steaks ended up pretty skinny this way, so I think we're actually gonna make 2 of these for dinner today. So good to know if you're planning on doing this at home and you have the opportunity to choose what strip loin or whatever roast, whatever cut you want to do this with. Try to choose ones that have a little more kind of depth to them, because you will lose quite a bit this way. I wasn't able to do that as I ordered online from D'Artagnan, but next time if I'm able to purchase in person, definitely going to look for thicker pieces. So I'm gonna get these vacuum sealed up, throw 2 of them in the sous vide, and I'll be back for dinner. Alright, so these steaks were just seasoned with salt and a little black pepper before being put into the sous vide bag. Seared off about a minute each side on the skillet, and it's been resting for about 10 minutes now. So let's cut into it and see what we have. Really love the color on that. Well, I'd say 30 days was a huge success. It certainly has that dry age sort of funk to it. I had one of the fresh strip loins from fresh New York strips from D'Artagnan a couple days ago. Definitely a huge difference in the flavor and the texture. Beefiness is just a lot more intense, a lot more tender, kind of just not like fall apart tender. Still has some good bite to it, but just like a very super tender New York strip, like the way you would expect a New York strip to be tender, not like a fillet or anything like that. So that's a huge success. Definitely worth doing the 30-day over eating it fresh. And we'll be back in 15 days and see what the comparison is between the fresh, the 30, and the 45. But I'd say between the fresh and the 30 wins hands down. See you in 15 days.